Good Look Podcast. It's the Good Look Podcast.
Yes, sir, and welcome to episode 38 of the Good Look Podcast. I'm your host, Leonard Pinckney, aka Agent P, aka L Pinckney, here to give you guys another episode and the first video and audio episode of the Good Look Podcast. I can't wait to share this. I'm so happy I'm sharing this with you guys now. It's incredibly exciting. Got the links up on my Instagram at the Good Look Podcast. Make sure you check that out at L Pinckney on Twitter. You'll find the links there. And of course, for the first episode of the GLP, I had to get my guy on the pod, the man, the myth, the legend, Jarwyn Cruz. Welcome to the podcast, man.
What up? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So just kind of introduce yourself. I'll just say really quick, Jarwyn's my guy. Anytime it's basketball related, I'm texting this guy. If we see each other, we'll see each other at men's league games and all kinds of stuff. We grew up together. So anytime we talk, it's just straight hoops. So just give yourself a little introduction, man. Tell people what's up.
All right. So my name is Jarwyn Cruz, as Leonard kindly introduced me. What do I do? So currently I'm a graduate student at Cal State San Marcos, but I'm on my way I'm currently going through some PhD interviews. I'm hoping to get my doctorate in experimental psych.
Beautiful.
I do research on children and how they think and how they learn.
Awesome.
I'm pretty nerdy. So yeah, I currently teach a couple classes. I take classes. So yeah, some people call me professor. So that's new. Yeah, but I'm not the N1 professor. But I'm self-proclaiming my own nickname. So once I get to that level, I will be Dr. J. Because those young kids won't even remember who or even know who Dr. J is. So I'm gonna take that mantle.
Okay. No, I hear you. I see you. I get it. I wouldn't be mad at it. Give the people a little bit of rundown on your NBA fandom. Obviously, if you're watching, you see the sweatshirt. You know what my man's working with. Tell them about just your NBA fandom history.
All right, so I'll be completely honest. I became a Warrior fan around 2010. So a
lot of people wouldn't believe it. You know how they talk about him.
Let me tell you the story. It's actually first let me give a shout out to Ralph Bautista, our guy.
The boy.
So what happened was I didn't really have a team. I mean, I obviously kind of went and I, like a lot of NBA fans now, we root for players.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's gravitating towards now. So my favorite player was Chris Paul, and he was on his way out in New Orleans, Oklahoma City. Well, they went back and forth, right?
Yeah.
The hurricane. But yeah, I did root for him, but he was on his way to LA. I think that was 2010 to 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not want to root for any Southern California team. I don't know. I just don't really like LA.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice place, but I'm not down for. Sorry for all you Laker and Clipper fans hearing this. Yeah. So as he was about to move, I was gonna look for another team, and what happened was we were at the mall one day, me and Ralph, and he may or may not have got a lanyard for the free, and he gave it to me, and it was the Warriors.
No.
It's been history since then.
That's the story. Don't tell that's the story.
Because okay, this is what happened. We go through this cycle. We do this a lot where we pick bad teams, and obviously the Warriors were terrible at the moment.
Yeah.
Pick bad teams, and you want to root for them, and I just struck gold, unintended.
Yeah.
And I mean, since I had the keys to the bandwagon back then, I still have them.
Mm-hmm.
We had some passengers, then they hopped off and went back to LA. And that's where we're at, but I still got the keys.
Hey, my God. So that's the first time I heard this story, and I will I believe my guy because we've done this very recently with Ralph, the guy he just talked about. So he's in a phase two. He's also a Detroit Lions fan and just continues to find ways to suffer. So I don't know why he does this to himself, but we did the song and dance with a bad team for him in basketball, and what do you know it? We cycled with him and he got the Mavs.
Yeah. He was on the Kings.
Yeah.
Was on the Raptors. He was on the Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I mean, the Raptors, the only one that made it. The other two.
Yeah. But he got lucky. Now he's self-proclaimed with the Mavs now, and he caught it pre-Luka, so it's hilarious. But that's my guy Jarwyn, guys. He's gonna be here for the pod, so I'm really excited to have him on here. We're gonna talk a lot of hoop, and we're gonna get into the news of the week. So let's get it going. So Giannis, the back-to-back MVP, he decided to say, hey, I'm not going to leave like everybody else. I'm signing a Supermax. He signs the biggest contract in NBA history, 5 years, $228 million. So, Jarwyn, what are your initial reactions on that?
Initial reactions?
Yeah, how you feel about it?
I don't know why he signed now. That's a big risk for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they do choke again, he's stuck there.
Yeah.
And they don't really have assets to move. And the obvious move is, well, the obvious thing to point out is that Miami no longer has a free agent. Well, they don't have anybody to look forward to.
Yeah.
The Warriors don't either. The Mavericks have now. And, I mean, the biggest winners are pretty much the Lakers again.
Which couldn't be more annoying, but it's true. So one, it's the best for Giannis because the man's getting $228 million. So obviously all these guys are rich, but bagging 228, that's ridiculous money. So shout out to him for bagging it. And he can still, if in the future he wants to end up getting traded somewhere, he can find a way to do it. CC James Harden, which we'll talk about in a second. But I'm with you. I was saying all the way up, I don't like that he signed it now because this deal was for him next season, and he just would have had a lot more options at that point. He gives up the shot to maybe go and play with Luka, which would have been absolutely devastating. Playing in Miami with all those guys would have been incredible for him. Even though I don't believe the Golden State stuff, no matter how many times you try to text me trade offers, that was an option too. But I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm happy Milwaukee gets to stay relevant a little bit longer, but even them hitting Drew Holiday doesn't feel like it's enough to push them over the top. Like, I still think they're going to be good, obviously. But we're talking about postseason time. It's going to be incumbent on him to be better, or they get someone else who's better than a Middleton or a Drew Holiday, and it just doesn't feel like they have that.
All right, let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
What would have been his maximum offer if he went on the free agency market? What would have been the number?
It would have been $50 million less. So he would have got like 178. So
at what point, let me ask you, at what point do you not really feel the difference between the dollars? Because we're talking a lot of money.
Yeah, I know.
And we're both like, well, I mean, we're pretty much middle class.
Yeah.
So this is like that 50 million. If we're talking like $1 million to 50 million, that you can feel that difference. But if we're talking about 178 to 220 something, can you actually feel that difference?
I mean, there's levels, right? So I don't think you do. And I think that's why everyone in the past has said, I don't care, I'm leaving. Everyone has said, I will, because they will make it up on the back end. Anthony Davis tried to get out with 2 years left. Kyrie, same thing. All these guys also try to push their leverage and get out with 1 year left. Because on the next deal with your new team, you can still max out at 5. So it doesn't really matter if you get the extra year from your team. So I think it's blind faith by Giannis to just trust everything Milwaukee's done, especially with them getting the egg on their face with the Bogdanovich deal. I don't think he should have done it. it's cool. It's a cute story, whatever. It's like sentimental and stuff. But in terms of just trying to win, it felt like he took a L.
That's fair. Well, okay. Let me ask you one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, how much do you think Giannis was thinking he wants to stay his whole career with one team? Or do you think these guys don't care about that? Is Steph the last one?
I don't. Teams obviously have overturned every year, and that's Giannis is only 26, man. I don't think he's thinking about I want to be here my entire career. Even if you look at the post, he's talking about I'll be here the next 5 years, and he has an opt out in the last year of his contract, so he can get out when he's 30 and still max out with some other teams. So I don't think it's that. I think he has blind faith in the organization. I think him being European is a big factor in this. I think him not growing up here is a big factor in that. So he's not I've heard it on other pod. He's not like an AAU kid who just like teamed up with people and just beat everybody up. He came from Europe. It's a different background. It's a different upbringing. So I don't think he has a mentality. He thinks he can trust his team. And everybody knows the Giannis story. He came from nothing. Milwaukee is his like home in America. He has a house in Miami, but I mean, whatever. But it's his spot. So I think it's blind faith. That's pretty much where I'd put the cap on it. Next up, Paul George re-upped. So this was early last week. This was after my last week's pod. So Paul George re-upped, got the max. He said he wanted to retire a Clipper. I mean, does anyone believe anything that Paul George says? It's just anything that comes out of that dude's mouth just feels like ass backwards. I don't know what to do with it. What do you think?
What I think about Paul George?
Go with it, man. Whatever you want to say.
So first, if you're listening to this and you do not follow Mina Kimes on Twitter yet,
Yes.
do you a favor and hit the follow
Please
button.
follow the great Mina Kimes.
All right, so she had the best caption or best tweet about this. So when I don't know who reported it. Was it Shams, Woj, one of the two?
Shams came out first, yeah.
Okay, so when she like quote tweeted it, she put out "payoff P," and I was done with it. I was done with it. That's pretty. I mean,
drop the mic. Almost nothing else needs to be said.
Yeah, the last things we saw about Paul George, I mean, you can't get that image of him shooting the shot off the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I've seen a couple people play at the park, and when that happens, like, you know how people say Kobe when they shoot a jumper?
Yeah.
I've been hearing people say Paul George when they shoot off the side of the backboard.
That's rough, man.
That's become the new thing at the park.
That's nasty.
Yeah, so it's been rough. I mean, he's still probably a top 15, 20-ish player.
Yeah, I'll give him
still
that.
a borderline all-star.
Yeah, he could be. In a good year, he's an all-star. It's just he's just had like, it's not just this year though. We know his history. Like after like the team started to dissipate in Indiana, like that last year, didn't do well. When he got traded to OKC, he flamed out against Utah. There's just something with him. And it feels like the Clippers are stuck. And they had to give him the max. I think the only silver lining for them is that he's an asset. So it doesn't matter that you gave him the max because maybe eventually you got a good trade chip. And they don't have a lot of assets since they gave all their first-round picks to OKC. So if it for real doesn't work this year, then you give up on him next year and then try to see if you can salvage something. But we're not going to give Paul George too much time because we don't need to stay on that too much.
Wait, one question.
Go for it.
Paul George or Andrew Wiggins?
We're moving on to the next topic. That's Jarwyn, man. Okay, so Kyrie Irving made a bunch of weird comments on IG Live, just makes weird comments in general like usual. It's a great thing. If you didn't see the live, I saw the live, But if you like look back at it, he was talking with Katie about how I'm gonna do post ups, and Katie's like, "Yeah, we'll see though," because my point guard doing like 8 post ups a game is not gonna fly. It's not gonna work for our offense. But then he finally decided to have the media session, and now he walked back his comments a little bit on the Steve Nash coaching stuff. It's so it's a circus with Kyrie, and it's been that for a while. But obviously, this team still has a bunch of talent. But we'll just talk about just the Kyrie piece for now, because we'll probably talk about this team later in the pod. Do you think any of the antics or the media stuff that Kyrie has is going to affect this team moving forward?
Short answer, yes.
Okay.
I don't think it. Can you tell me when it hasn't affected a team? You've seen what happened. I mean, you can. I don't know. We can't really quantify it, but like you could just know how Boston looked after he left. Though him and Kemba have relatively the same numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, Cleveland was in shambles when he left, so that wasn't. Well, they went to the finals one more year, but
that's LeBron.
Yeah. Other than that, teams don't really look that happy with him on the team.
Now, I will also cap for Kyrie. I'll cape for Kyrie because he's one of my favorite players. Because offensively, watching him on the basketball court, he's ridiculous, and everybody knows that. I don't think everything is as much his fault as like the media will make it, just because. Maybe like Gordon Hayward being hurt was a factor in Boston. These players, the Kemba stuff, I think it's negligible. And then him being hurt last year and trying to say that the team's better because he missed like 50 games. I don't know if that's enough for me to really say that he's that bad of a player. But offensively in this game, he's one of the top point guards, and I will take the headache that he is sometimes off the court if I get that kind of production on it. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I don't want him on my team, as talented as he is.
Kyrie or James Harden?
James Harden.
Okay. Which is a perfect segue into the last bit of news for the week, him having his first media session and reporters trying to grill him a little bit, ask him where was he training, why was he training in Vegas and in Miami or whatever, in Atlanta, and people know why, but he was like, I'm just training, and that's because it's where my personal trainers are. It's been a weird saga. It's been the biggest story in the offseason pretty much the last couple of weeks. So just looking at it from your perspective, I guess, the question I want to ask is, I'll ask you, when do you think he's going to get traded?
When?
Yes.
Probably in the offseason. I don't imagine.
You think he goes the whole season in Houston?
Because the thing is, who's going to trade for him?
There's not that many teams. I think he put out that report that he wanted to go Milwaukee and Miami on some BS just because he needed some other leverage. But I don't think there's a lot of teams out there that are willing to give up what James Harden like brings. Even though he's a great offensive player, he just comes with a lot.
Yeah, I mean, unless the Sixers are around 500 and struggling.
Yeah.
And it's apparent that the Simmons and Embiid thing doesn't work, even though it doesn't work. I don't see him getting traded anywhere else.
Okay. So you think the Brooklyn thing now?
I don't think the Rockets are going to budge on Karis LeVert or Jared Allen or all these other – I mean, yes, they're good young players and they're good second, third, fourth guys.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm Houston, I'm trying to get a potential star or a potential all-star.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to those guys because they're
good players. They're good players.
They're not stars.
They're not like what Ben Simmons could offer in a Philly trade or – I mean, I don't think you guys would do it, but the Warriors, they were there for a little bit. There was some there were some whispers
Yeah,
about James Harden them trying to just peek around and see if he was available.
I wouldn't mind it, but I mean getting rid of James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, that Minnesota pick. That's honestly, if I were the Rockets, I'd take that package.
If I was the Rockets, I would too. But I mean, they might just want to hold out for more. They want to just try to make it work with him, and I don't think it's going to end up working out. I think you said he goes the whole season. I'm saying trade deadline, he's gone. I think he's still going to play in Houston for some time, but I don't think it's just when you have a disgruntled star, it usually just doesn't work. And the league is run by stars. When they want to do something, it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to turn into an AD situation where he's playing 25 a game and then he just sits them every other night. So I think he's gone by the trade deadline. To where? Not sure, but we'll see.
He got 2 more years on his deal,
He still got 2 years on his deal. Yeah.
so it's not even like he's on his way out.
No.
And he's 31.
He's 30. Yeah, he's 31.
Oh God.
I know.
And he just looked like he ate skinny James Harden. I think that's what the episode.
Internet is undefeated, straight ruthless. Kendrick Perkins was like he thought he saw himself on the court. Like it was just
Kendrick Perkins runs like he's wearing combat boots.
I can't say how many times I've shook my head at anything Kendrick Perkins says, or I watch First Take and him and Stephen A just try to gang up on Max even when Max makes good points because they just don't understand. I can't with KP. But,
Yeah.
all right, guys. So that was news of the week. We're going to go a little bit into what's going to be the opening night games, December 22nd. By the time this pod rolls around, those games will be done, so I'll be able to talk about them. But we're going to preview them really quick. We got Warriors, Nets, and then Lakers, Clippers. So we're already talking about these teams, talking around them. That first matchup, KD's first regular season game in like 500-something days. We finally get to see the Brooklyn experiment in a real regular season setting. He looked really good in his preseason game. It got me excited because it was just nice to see him play and nice to see him at least look like himself. Still rusty, but he still looked like KD getting to the basket, pulling up on people. He looks good. And then you have the Warriors. This obviously would have been a lot better if Clay was there, but he's not. But Steph is still going to be Steph, and he did it the other night, dropping 29 on the Kings like it was nothing, which we should be prepared for. Steph is going to go off this year, y'all. We thought it would happen last year, but he broke his hand. But be ready for that Steph Curry resurgence here. I don't know why anybody continues to question this man. It's ridiculous. But go ahead, Jarwyn. Give me your thoughts on this game. Who do you think is going to win?
Well, this game's gonna look. So, if we're just talking about this game, do you know what the spread is?
I don't know the spread on this
Well,
one.
on the top, I would assume. And wait, who's at home?
Who's at home? It's going to be in Brooklyn.
At Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take the road team on this one. I think the Warriors they've been more. Wait, let me backtrack. So Katie and Kyrie are ISO dominant players.
Yes,
And I feel like it'd take the team a little longer for them to gel. Although they're great.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. The spread is Brooklyn 5.5.
Brooklyn 5.5. Oh, I'd definitely take the points. I would definitely take the points. Yeah, so which would probably mean that they're gonna blow them out. But let's reverse jinx that.
Just for
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the 2 preseason Warrior games, but they look like they're having fun out there.
They do. The bench is getting crazy again, like it's 2015.
Yeah, so they just seem like they really like each other.
Yep.
And we don't really know what Brooklyn is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just think if we're just talking about opening night, I like my chances with the Warriors. But if you ask me, like, if they're going to meet in, like, March or April, I wouldn't be surprised if the Nets are significantly better.
I am the complete opposite of you. I think Brooklyn comes out like gangbusters on Tuesday. I think I think KD's gonna be okay. I'm seeing like 8 for 21, like with 25. I think Kyrie gets like 40, and then I think that's how Brooklyn ends up finding a way to win. Um, I think Steph's gonna go off for like 30 plus, but I don't know who's gonna come with him. I've watched some of those Warrior preseason games. I don't know what Andrew Wiggins is, just a body, man. And I know he's just like the fourth option now, but even just he's just man. And then but Kelly Oubre, I like the aggressiveness. I like what I see from him. The only wild card I don't know about is Wiseman, because he should be there. Him and Draymond. Skinny Draymond. We'll see how he looks. But I think Brooklyn is going to come out and want to make a statement, especially Kyrie. And if it's a regular season setting and there's no one to guard him, I think he's going off for 40, and I think Brooklyn takes that.
So you want to put a Popeye's chicken sandwich on this one?
I'll do a Church's chicken sandwich on it.
A Church's chicken sandwich. I had one like a week ago.
Yes.
That's good.
Hey, man, it's fire. I talked crap about Church's for a while because I had a bad experience when I was younger. So I finally had one. It was really good. It was like seasoned all the way through. It was crunchy. I mean, whatever. We'll do one chicken sandwich. I will take Brooklyn, and you got your dubs, obviously. Okay.
We got it.
All right.
Boy.
Second game. I got you. Lakers Clips. What we doing?
Ooh. And it's ring night.
Technically.
Ooh, we'll take the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. What's up?
They're just better.
They are just better. I feel like I want to pick the Clippers just because I want the next sports talk day to be hilarious, but I think the Lakers are going to win too. This is coming from, if you're on here right now, you see the patch right there. You're obviously big old Nuggets fan, big old Warriors fan. We ain't got nothing for the Lakers. We're just picking y'all. We know you're good. Next topic.
Yeah, keep them.
All right, so I previewed the last two divisions or the first four divisions. So 2/3 of the league on my last two pods. We're going to do the last two really quick. So the Southeast Division and the Northwest Division. I barely know the names of these divisions anymore because we know that divisions in basketball don't mean anything. But we're still going to go. It's just an easy way to divide the teams. We're going to go through each team again. I'm going to throw it to my guy, Jarwyn, see how he feels about all these squads, and then we'll pretty much get into our next topic after that. So first, we're going to go to the Southeast Division. And we got the Miami Heat. Miami went 44-29 last year, 5th seed in the East, made it to the finals, upset Milwaukee in the second round, took out Boston, lost to the Lakers in 6. Yeah, Jimmy Butler and Bam, they were named All-Stars. Bam made second team All-Defense. Jimmy made third team All-NBA, and they had Hero and Nunn make first team All-Rookie. So stacks of awards for the Heat. They added Avery Bradley, Precious Achiuwa in the draft, and then they lost Jay Crowder and Derek Jones Jr. Now, for me, I think they're still going to be really good. Top 5 in the East has gotten better. The teams have gotten better, I think, and I think they're part of that cluster in the Eastern Conference. I think their ceiling for the regular season is probably the 3 seed, but in the regular or in the playoffs, they're going to be dangerous for anyone. I think like the other squads in the East, again, they just got better. But Miami, I think, is still just going to be awesome. What do you think about the Heat?
You think their ceiling is 3?
I think their ceiling is 3. I got Brooklyn and Milwaukee 1-2. So even if everything goes well, I still got Brooklyn, Milwaukee 1-2.
I think you're a little too low on them. I can see them being number 1.
The 1? The 1
I'm not saying that they will, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about a young team with So Bam is in his 3rd season.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero will be in his 2nd season. K Nunn will be in his 2nd season. We're talking about a really young team.
Yeah.
And we got Jimmy Butler, who doesn't take a night off unless it's the All-Star game.
Yes.
And then we have who else we got? They got Andre Iguodala,
Mm-hmm.
one of the top 3 wing defenders of all time.
All time?
Of all time.
Top 3. Give me
Top,
the first 2.
I will take Scotty. Well, I mean, would you Jordan, LeBron?
Jordan, LeBron,
They
Tony Allen.
they come as together. And then we'll take Andre Iguodala.
I'm just checking him out, making sure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, he's old now, but he's so serviceable, and
Dog.
everything does help.
I do like the Avery Bradley pickup for sure.
Yeah. So I think continuity and just the young guys getting experience in the finals and getting their ass kicked.
Yeah.
That the experience does a lot for a team.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if they carry over and make a run. I mean, I don't anticipate them being number 1, but would I be shocked if they were number 1? I don't think so.
I would be shocked because of the 2 teams in front of them. It's Milwaukee, who is almost exactly the same, except probably a little better because Drew Holiday is better than Eric Bledsoe, and the Nets, Kyrie and KD. It's just those 2 teams. I think that they're better. I think, but like I said, if it shakes out right, 3 seed. But we can live in worlds where Philly finds a way to figure it out. We can live in a world where, well, not Washington. Let me put them to the side, but you get what I'm saying. I think 3 is as high as they can get, man. That's just how I.
Is there any center in the league better than Bam Adebayo?
Jokic.
You can make the case. I'm giving you a hard time.
Stop it. I know you don't want to get me off track. But okay. Next team, one of your favorites, the Orlando Magic. The 8th seed last year. I don't know how, because the East is so trash. The 33-40 record, no awards. They drafted Cole Anthony. They got Dwayne Bacon. They lost TJ Augustine. What I put down for them is transition year. I think this is finally – they've been just in the middle, 8, 7, 9, 10 for a while now, because the ceiling you have with Vucevic is only so high, and this is pretty much what it is. So I think this is the transition year. I think they're going to see if Fultz can do anything. They're going to see if Cole Anthony is anything. They're going to ship out Aaron Gordon. They're going to ship out Vucevic, either trade deadline or next off season, and then they're going to start over and go full rebuild.
Yeah, they're just not good.
Yeah, there's.
If I were to pick a bad team right now, they'd be one of the bad teams I would want to root for no good reason. They just suck.
But it's not just that they suck; it's they're boring. Like, at least if you go and pick a squad, like, because when you got lucky with the Warriors, you got blessed with Steph and Monte Ellis, and then all of a sudden you just got into the Curry era. Like, with Orlando, there's just nothing. There's no hope. Like, at least in Charlotte, which we'll talk about in a second, you have ridiculous LaMelo, and at least it's a question. It's intriguing, but what do you have in Orlando? You know what everyone is, and Jonathan Isaac is hurt.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. Well, they did beat Milwaukee in Game 1.
That was really exciting for a day.
They did that, and then Jonathan Isaac got all the publicity about that.
Yeah.
You don't need to go into that. Yeah, and Vucevic fills up the numbers, but I'm not sure if is he a numbers guy or is he actually good? I'm not really sure anymore.
That's what I'm saying. I asked you before this, though. I was like, do you think Vucevic is a center on a championship team? What do you think?
I mean, if he's a center on a championship team, if he's on a minimum contract.
That's cold.
If he's on a minimum to like a
That's cold.
He's not going to be paid max level money
Mm-hmm.
and be a center on a championship team.
Like, as I say that, the scenario I can think of is if he's in like a Marcus Sol role. Like that last year in Toronto, Mark was still making like 25, but he ended up being the center on a title team, even though they weren't going to win if the Warriors were healthy. But still, that's like the scenario I could think of for Vucevic being successful. Otherwise, he's kind of just going to be a guy, and they got to move off that eventually.
Yeah, sorry, Nina. If KD was healthy, that would have been. Kawhi could not guard him in those 11 minutes, and it wasn't even close.
11 minutes on one leg. Oh my
And
God.
he was doing them.
He was. At least we get to see the guy on the court now. I just talked about him a little bit earlier. With the Charlotte Hornets, 10th in the East. 10th in the East gets you the number 2 or number 3 pick in the draft. Hello, LaMelo Ball. Obviously, no award winners on this team. They added Nick Richards and Vernon Carey Jr. in the draft as well. And Gordon Hayward, who just freshly breaks his finger just because he's Gordon Hayward. They lost Nicholas Batum, Dwayne Bacon, Willie Hernan Gomez. They didn't just lose Nicholas Batum. They're saying, hey, we'll pay you $9 million for the next 3 years just to have Batum not be on the team. That's how smart we are in Charlotte. But for this squad, it's just LaMelo. This is what their year is about. He doesn't start now. He's going to eventually start because they got Devontae Graham, but they can put those two in the backcourt, whatever. He's going to have a great opportunity to try to probably win Rookie of the Year just because of all the opportunity he's going to have as the season progresses. Gordon Hayward, whatever, they're just going to be wasting money with him. Charlotte has just been rampant with incompetence over the last it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know why Michael Jordan doesn't get anyone who can make sound decisions there, but it continues to happen. But maybe they'll just run into some luck. I mean, Devontae Graham was lucky. LaMelo is lucky, potentially. PJ Washington's a solid player. That could be lucky with him. So who knows with Charlotte? But at least they'll be like exciting, because if you watch preseason games, LaMelo, he messes up. He does stupid stuff, obviously, but he does a lot of exciting things too. I said I compare him to like Jason Williams, because Jason Williams just threw spectacular passes all the time, but he shot a terrible percentage. I think LaMelo's going to do the same thing, except he's just 6'8", so he's going to give you a little more versatility. So that's my read on Charlotte. What do you got?
I mean, do you know how to make them kind of more exciting?
What?
What if they signed the other Ball brother? They're gonna be bad anyway.
Which one? You said
LiAngelo.
Honestly, no, I can't do that, man.
I mean, it's Michael Jordan.
He's trash. Let's just say it. Everybody knows that kid can't play. He's just getting on teams because of or just because of the name. We know he's trash.
Okay. I mean, I do kind of like Miles Bridges.
Kinda.
Devontae Graham is good.
Yeah.
LaMelo Ball is good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they just know how to win. I don't know if they're gonna find out how to.
Not with this team. It was hilarious. In the preseason game against Toronto, they went on a 22-0 run and then went down 10 at the half. That's how ridiculous that team is, because they're just so young and they don't know what to do. Shout out to Malachi Flynn, though, SDSU, though. That kid's going to be nice. Yeah, man, I just let LaMelo do his thing and have fun with that, Charlotte. Plus, you guys got the best city jerseys. I'm going to put it out there right now. I love the best city jersey. Just saying.
All right, who wins a one-on-one? LeVar? No, not even who wins. Do they ever play one-on-one?
Never.
LeVar and Michael?
Never. Michael wouldn't, even with Michael's ego, he wouldn't care enough to even.
That would be the most exciting thing in the Hornets season if that happened.
It'd be the most exciting thing since they made the playoffs in the 90s, because even in 2000s nobody cared. They were just LeBron's doorstep pretty much. Next up, 2 more teams in this division. The Washington Wizards, 9th in the East, 25-47. Bradley Beal, notable because he didn't get on any award list, didn't make the All-Star team, didn't make an All-NBA team. They added Russell Westbrook via trade, re-signed Bertans, drafted Denny Advia from Maccabi Tel Aviv. They lost John Wall in the trade for Westbrook. I think it's marginal improvement. I think Westbrook is a better player than Wall, but I don't think it's going to be so much to where you're vaulting this team into the upper echelon of the East. If you look at this roster after after Beal and Westbrook, it's terrible. There is like just a bunch of meh all over the place and a bunch of young guys you're trying to make into rotation pieces who you can rely on, and you just can't do that. But because they have Westbrook and Beal, they're going to make the playoffs in the East. So I think if they finish anywhere from like 6 to 10, it would not surprise me. But I'm thinking more like 5. I'm thinking more like 6, 7 for that team.
That's fair. We don't need to waste time on that team.
Thank you. And hopefully not much on this team either. The Atlanta Hawks, 14th in the East, 20-47. This is the team with the most turnover. They added Clint Capella last year in the midseason trade, or Trae Young became an all-star. Danilo Gallinari, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Rajon Rondo, Chris Dunn, and drafted Onyeka Okongwu. They lost DeAndre Bembry, Jeff Teague, Dwayne Dedman, and then Vince Carter retired. My note is welcome to the postseason, Atlanta, along with expanding this thing to 10 teams because of the play-in. I think the Hawks with this team, especially in the East, should see some sort of playoff action, whether they max out and get to the 8 or 7, or they do good, okay to good, and then they make the 9 or 10 play-in game and kind of make it creative for themselves. So they're trying to sell out before Trae Young's like max deal gets in. They'll make the playoffs. I mean, that's cool, but they're not going to contend for anything. And I don't know if building the team this way is necessarily the best, because Bogdanovic don't play no defense. He's gritty. I love that dude, but you don't D up. Gallo don't play no defense. Clint Capella's and if Trae Young's a sieve. So if I don't know what you're going to do with that team moving forward, but if they're trying to make the playoffs in the East, they probably accomplish their goal.
They'll make the playoffs.
Where do you think they max out at? If everything goes well, where are they at?
If everything goes well?
Everything goes well.
5?
5?
Well, I mean, that's if everything goes well.
Even if everything goes well, you think 5?
Well, I mean, I'm accounting for – so if everything goes well,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm saying, okay, it's possible that something goes wrong for one of the top teams.
Yeah.
So they can get to the back end.
Okay. Northwest Division, a little bit more competitive than this other division out east. Oh man, so we're gonna start. I did not intentionally do this, but it's gonna happen. It's my Denver Nuggets. They came in at 46-27 last year, the 3 seed in the West. Jokic an all-star and made second team All-NBA. Should have made first, but they changed up the voting and made Anthony Davis a center, even though he only played center for like 8 seconds last year. Anyway, I'm not bitter. Additions are JaMychal Green, Isaiah Hartenstein, Facundo Campazzo, and they re-signed Millsap. Lost Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee, and Torrey Craig. This is my team, so I'm gonna just go off about them really quick. It's just an established group, got a lot of room to grow. The playoff resiliency was nice. At the flip of a coin, however, if that Conley shot goes in, who knows what we're thinking about with this team? So there's still more to prove, and there's still a lot of people who are correctly saying that we're just not as good as the Lakers, obviously, just because of that duo with LeBron and AD. They're just better, but Michael Porter Jr. is being touted as our next big thing. We're going to rely on him to try to be that next third star. Will Barton's coming back, which is a big deal. It's just a nice ball handler, playmaker on the court. Keep an eye on Campazzo just because that dude's scrappy. I know you watched it. You saw my guy in the preseason game. He's short, but dude is just annoying. And if he has any type of impact on this team, That'll be a plus. And then who knows with Bobo? He barely played. I don't know where he fits into the rotation unless people get hurt. But people are going to clamor for him because he's like just like box office Twitter wise. But I think I could see this team finishing as high as the top seed and as low as fourth. I think they're a lock to be somewhere in there in the Western Conference. That's the look on my team.
I think that's fair. I wouldn't be surprised if they're number one. What do you think the chances are Jamal Murray gets into first team All NBA?
0%.
Second team?
10%.
Do you think what his ceiling that we've seen in the playoffs is the Jamal Murray we've seen in the playoffs, is that the real Jamal Murray or is he playing out of his mind?
I think he was playing out of his mind. But I think even a notch below that is great. And I think if he sits at that level, that's a guy in the regular season who averages 25 and then in the playoffs gets up to like 28. So I don't think he's going to be a dude who's just dropping 40 bombs on people all the time. But that's the one thing about Jamal still. Because if you look at his regular season last year, he only averaged 18 a game. And there's still questions about him, and people were questioning that max deal still. So I just want to see him do it consistently over time, because no matter if people just say the playoffs are the only thing that matters, which technically they do, the best players in this league do it every night. So Jokic does it every night. Jamal needs to be a guy who comes along with him and does it every night too. And then if you have Porter chip in and just grow into his role as a third scorer and get 15 to 20 a game, then you have this team topping out with its potential, and hopefully the role players fill their roles.
Okay, if you had to choose,
what you about to say right now? What you about to say?
So going forward,
Yes,
if we're gonna build around one of the two guys,
one of the two.
is it Michael Porter Jr. or is it Jamal Murray?
So I have Jokic.
Sure. Yes.
So, oh God.
What I'm saying is, does
Okay.
Michael Porter Jr. have to be the guy on the team, or can he take a backseat to Jamal Murray and still be a third star? Like, is he okay being a third star, or does it have to be Michael Porter Jr.'s team?
So this is my thing. I think he does have to be the guy on the team, but I'm hoping during the next 5 years, when we have control over his contract, that he knows in his head that he can't be that guy. So he just acquiesces and gets into the role of being, I'm going to be one of the top two scorers on this team. Because Jokic doesn't have to be the guy that scores a lot on this squad. He actually would prefer not to. If you have Jokic averaging 18 a game and then you have both Jamal and Porter in the 20s, then I think that's the optimal ceiling for this team. That's where I think this team should go.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Quote that answer.
All right, Portland Trail Blazers, 35-39, 8 seed last year, somehow beat the Grizzlies in the play-in. Not somehow. They played well. I mean, it's just they play absolutely no defense. Damian Lillard, second team All-NBA and an All-Star. Added Covington, Cantor, Harry Giles, and Derek Jones. Lost Trevor Ariza and Whiteside, which isn't really a loss anyway. I think they're better. They're obviously better. I think Robert Covington helps with their overall defense, but they still don't play any. So as potent as they are offensively, I think at best, Portland's a 4 seed.
At best?
At best. I don't think they're better than Denver, the Clippers, or the Lakers.
They're not. But, well, I did pick this team to make it to the final. Now that's on the record.
This man is ridiculous.
We're talking about a shortened season.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only so many months between the finals and the start of this season.
Yeah.
And their core is relatively young compared to other teams.
Relatively, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were. See, this is another team that could be a number one seed.
I don't see it. But if you think even with everything going right, they could be the one. They played no defense, man. Like absolutely no defense. It's ridiculous.
It is, but we're talking about. I mean, Dame can average 30-something points,
Yeah.
and I like Gary Trent more than I like CJ McCollum.
I think they have. I've been saying they need to trade CJ for 3 years, and they haven't listened, and they've just topped out at one in first and second round exits. But what do I know?
Yeah, and I do really like Yusuf Nurkic.
Oh, I love Nurk.
I think him playing a full
OG
season,
Nug.
I don't think the Nuggets should have let him go, but that's another story.
We had to.
Yeah, and I mean they can be number one. Do I think
Mm-hmm.
they'll be number one? No.
Yeah.
If I'm being more realistic, I think 3 to 6.
Okay. That's fair. That is fair. We're going to breeze through these next three just so we can get to the next topic, which I don't think is that big of a deal breezing through the next three. We got the Jazz, the Thunder, and then the T-Wolves. So T-Wolves, worst record in the NBA, got the first overall pick, Anthony Edwards, who's looking absolutely incredible right now. That's a joke. And then you have the Thunder, who gave up everyone. Their whole team is gone, and they added Al Horford and Trevor Ariza, and they're giving the keys to Alexei Pokusevsky and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then Utah, who actually is a good team here. Like I said before, they're a coin flip away from maybe making a run that the Nuggets did when that Conley shot didn't go in. It's one of the most heart-stopping moments I've ever had in my life. They're just all around solid. They're just always rock solid no matter what. I think that's 4 or 5 seed easy. And then we're not even talking about Oklahoma City or Minnesota this year. They're just both going to be lottery teams. So hit me. Any three of those teams you want to talk about, not talk about? What's up?
The Jazz will be a playoff team. The other two are. You're right. You hit
Mhm.
up. I think Anthony Edwards.
I never saw it, man. And I'm not going to kill the kid for playing bad in preseason, just like I'm not going to anoint Taylor Horton Tucker MVP because he dropped 33 in a preseason game. I'm not going to do it. But it's affirming some of the stuff that I had questions about with him initially. But it's preseason. Maybe I need to back off a little bit.
Yeah, and he will have opportunity. I mean, it's just him, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl-Anthony Towns.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. I mean,
You want to talk about a sieve defensively? Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, that's rough.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Utah. I think Quinn Snyder is probably the most underappreciated coach in the whole league.
With the tightest pants for sure.
Yeah, these Duke guys gotta stay together. Yeah, him, Donovan Mitchell. I think did he make an All NBA team?
No, all-star.
I think he'd probably be an All-Star again.
Does he make all NBA this year?
We can go over that later. I don't know if we're gonna have to sort this out.
Okay.
He's on the bubble.
Yeah.
If anything, he's gonna be 13. But
Quick question before you say the next thing. You're the Jazz and you have Gobert. He's a free agent this year or after this season. What do you do with him?
I mean, they're not attracting any free agents. You kind of have to just keep your guys.
Would you, because I read this somewhere or heard it somewhere, would you trade him to Brooklyn and get back Jared Allen?
They're almost the same player.
Almost.
I mean, Jared Allen is like the younger version of him. Wait, let me bring up one thing.
Okay.
So I know Rudy Gobert got a lot of flack for touching all those microphones,
Yeah.
but he was the biggest domino that kind of, well, I mean, our country's in shambles,
Mm-hmm.
but he made COVID-19 a little more apparent because he was the first dude, like, well,
To publicly mock it and then have it blow up in his face.
I mean, he got the league to shut down. It's
Yeah.
But it was actually a blessing in disguise, kind of.
I would say that, yeah.
We still haven't figured it out, but I mean, if it wasn't for him, we would have probably went another like 2 or 3 nights of basketball and mass gatherings.
And then who knows what happened. You're right.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I feel you. If you want to give Rudy some of his flowers for that, that's cool.
I mean, I'm just trying to look for one bright side with him. I mean, he might win Defensive Player of the Year again.
Uh-huh.
I'm tired of it going to these big guys who just block shots and
It's so lazy. It's so lazy. I hate that that's how the system is.
he'll be a top 3 Defensive Player of the Year again.
Yes, because that's the only metric that's like easy to like register is then you look at defensive rating and then you just
Are we predicting Defensive Player of the Year here?
I mean, if you want to, because I have the pick in my head.
Wait, who's your pick? Just off top.
Ben Simmons.
Ooh, I like that. That's not who I picked.
You pick Rudy Gobert. Who you got?
This is too easy. I think it's Marcus Smart.
Oh, I threw you a lob on that. You love Marcus Smart. You wish he played at Duke, didn't you?
He will switch off and guard them in the post. He is not afraid. This dude jumps into stands and dives on the floor. He is. I mean, he's probably my favorite.
Let me tell you all about Marcus Smart real quick. So I talked to Jarwyn before. I texted him this and I asked. This is before the draft and even after the draft. Now that the pick has happened, would you have given up the number 2 pick this year for Marcus Smart? What did you say?
I said yeah. Wait, but let me backtrack. This is with Clay on the team.
Yeah, this is true. I will give him that. I will throw him that bone. I'll give him
now because Clay's not there. I think the Warriors needed a possible cornerstone. So and Wiseman fits that build.
Yeah.
So it was necessary to pick that guy. But if we're just talking about you need to win now and you need to beat the Lakers, although they'd be adding another guard, Marcus Smart would give you the chance. I mean, you throw another guy at LeBron, might as well throw him. You can't really stop him. You just need to either annoy him or do something.
I think you did say it too, though. We was talking about it. You'd give up that Minnesota pick for Marcus Smart right now, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. I don't know if I'm not too intrigued by these prospects. I mean, I need to look more into them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody wows me at the moment.
There's one guy that I know is for sure, no question about, and I think everyone else is kind of whatever. I think they're trying to build it up. All the draft stuff that I've listened to this whole year, everyone keeps saying how okay this year's draft was and how amazing next year's draft is going to be. I think it's just a bunch of guys who like to score, except for one guy. So Cade Cunningham, he plays at Oklahoma State. He's like 6'7", 6'8". He's a point guard, and his jump shot is actually a lot better if you watch some film on him, and he can make all the passes. He's in the mold of like Luka and Harden being that big playmaker who can also, if he just keeps improving his jump shot, which he's number 1 pick easy.
You know who else is from Oklahoma State?
I walked right.
You know. Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart.
Yeah, it'd be you get the number 1 pick would be the dude from Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
And then trade the number 2 pick if the Warriors have the number 2 pick.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart.
Okay, that's enough Marcus Smart for now. Okay, give me Give me one sentence to describe Oklahoma City's season.
Is Billy Donovan still the coach?
Not anymore.
Wait, who's their coach now?
It's because Nate Bjorken is in Indiana.
I'll give you my sentence. Save Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Freeze Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. There we go.
Mark Dagnall. I know I forgot his. I just didn't know how to say his name. But yeah, SGA. Year's all about him. Their city jerseys are fire. I actually kind of want one, but we'll see. All right, so that is all the divisions, y'all. Appreciate it. If you didn't hear anything on the other two divisions, or if you want to catch up on the season before this thing starts, go listen to the last two pods I had before this, number 37 and 36. That'll go over the other teams in the West and the Eastern Conference. But now me and Jarwyn are going to go into our predictions. So we have MVP, Rookie of the Year, and then our finals picks, and then who we think is going to win the title. So we'll start off with the MVP, Jarwyn. The floor is yours.
The MVP, my pick. I've been on record for a couple people.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna bring it back to 2015, 2016. It's gonna be Steph Curry.
Oh, okay. He had to go homer on this one, y'all. But go ahead, make your Steph case.
Well, the Warriors have no other scoring star.
Mm-hmm.
It's his team again.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's always been his team. It's never not been his team. They're flying relatively under the radar. They're not. I mean, the perception I feel is that people don't think they're a legitimate title contender, which is valid. I don't think. As currently constructed, I don't think they are a title contender at the moment.
Yeah.
But if we're taking a team to take it to the Lakers, I think because of Steph, and if Andrew Wiggins can get this going and Kelly Oubre can get hot, any given night, they might not win a 7-game series, but they can make it interesting. But Steph's gonna Steph. He scored 29 points in 3 quarters against the Kings in a preseason game. He's back. Yeah, and he's moving well.
Mm-hmm.
His handles still well. His shots still well. He's with Draymond again.
Yeah.
I think James Wiseman's going to make life easier on him. He's an average defender at best, just as long as he doesn't get exposed on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if the Warriors are going to make noise and creep into the top 3 seeds, and he puts up 30 to 35 points a game and is box office, like there's few other players where if they're on fire, are you going to Twitter or you're calling somebody to watch this guy? It's still him.
It's still him.
And I don't yes, Dame is fun to watch. And Dame can put up 40, and he can shoot from almost half court.
Mm-hmm.
But Steph been doing this for longer than him.
Yes, he has.
And I know they brought up in First Take today, I think, where Dame just shot 40% from 3 for the first time
this year.
And Steph's been doing this every single year of his career.
Respect it, man. Respect it.
Yeah, so I think Steph's taking a little, I think he's taking a lot of this personally.
Mm-hmm.
About people writing him off or people writing off the Warriors.
Yeah.
This is speculation. I can't but I think as an underdog, and that's kind of weird saying because they were dynastic for 4 years, 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're ready to prove something, and I think he's the guy that does it.
So you're betting money you're going to put it on Steph.
I'll take Steph.
Okay. So
and I think his chances without Clay because he has to score more.
Okay. So I'll push back a little, and then I'll give you my pick, which is going to be funny. But my only pushback with Steph is that I know that the history of the award is that you need to have a really good record unless there's some weird statistical anomaly for that year. I don't think the Warriors just will have a good enough record for Steph to get the recognition. Just like I don't think everyone's favorite Luka, he's the betting favorite right now for some reason. He's like 4-1 in Vegas. It doesn't make any sense because the Mavericks aren't gonna have like a top 3 seed. They're still gonna be beating their head against a lot of the good teams in the West. I think they're gonna finish somewhere still 6-8 just because that's how tough the West is. So I don't think Steph is just going to have the record. He's going to have the numbers. And last year, I thought he was going to get the MVP because he'd have the narrative and stuff on his side. But I think based on just the winning itself, I don't think he's going to get it.
Okay. So who do you think is going to get it?
This just turned into the Homer podcast because I think Jokic is going to win. Let me get my stuff off really quick. Let me get it off.
All right.
So I think regular season wise, I think the Nuggets will have the best record in the West. I do not think the Lakers are going as full tilt as they did last year. And I don't think the Clippers care about the regular season because they know that the postseason is the only thing they're going to be judged on. I think the Nuggets are still young enough and they still have a lot of other pieces that will carry them with regular season wins. And I think Jokic comes out on like gangbusters and he goes like 22-11-7. And if he does that with the best record in the West, and I think the teams in the East will beat up on each other enough to where Milwaukee won't just be overwhelmingly number one. I think that's going to be the case for Jokic, and that's what I think is going to happen this year.
That's fair.
My guy. I don't know how we did it, man. Look, it was not a plan for us to just put on the Homer jerseys and then just say that our guys are going to win it. But
wait, look, let me ask you: was Steph in your top 5?
No.
Jokic was in my top 5.
This is why we do this, man. This is why we talk about this stuff because we be coming from just like so many different angles. But I'll give you another one, and then you can give me your other guy who was like, I was thinking about it. Actually, it's someone who I could see, but then my list for the people that I just like people are saying but won't. I said KD. I just don't think regular season wise he'll ramp it up enough. Giannis. Giannis is what I hope for. I hope Giannis has another 30, 15, and 7 year, and they have the best record in the league again, and they try to find some way not to give it to him because it's a regular season. Where I pray so much that happens because the media will go nuts if it occurs. I'm going to be so happy if that happens, but I don't think it will. And I already talked about Luka. He's not going to have enough wins for it. But the other person who I think it's realistic for is Embiid. I think I'm buying in, dog. I'm buying into the body change. I'm buying into the diet change. Are you going to cut me off?
No, let me hear this.
Okay, I'm buying in. So last year was just a weird year. It really was because Elton Brand does not know what he's doing because he decided to give Al Horford $100 million, and he's lucky that Daryl Morey saved his ass and shipped out Al Horford and all that stupid money. And he gave Tobias Harris $180 for some reason. So now we have someone competent in the front office. Doc Rivers is an okay coach. I think he's okay. But I like Seth Curry being there. I like them adding shooting to that team. I still don't think it's funny because I'm saying this. I still don't think optimally Ben Simmons and Embiid will work together, but I think this year it'll work enough and his numbers are going to be so good. I'm seeing like 28 and 13, 14 this year. That's what I'm seeing for this dude. So I could see it. I could see him being the MVP.
Okay. I guess.
See, look at you. You wanted to try to push back and you couldn't.
I I just don't think. I think Ben Simmons is gonna. It just doesn't work with those two,
I agree.
and I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work with those two. I mean, we. Yeah, I don't believe it.
Yeah. Okay, man. But just give me one more. One guy who you think like, or give me a couple. So give me one guy who you wanted to put, but you're like, it's just not going to happen. And then one other guy who you're like, I can see it happening where he's the MVP.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you two real quick. I'm gonna give you two that I'm just gonna put respect on it. So first, we'll get this out of the way. I've said it on Twitter. I think Luka Doncic is the best player in the NBA.
Yes, he has. He
I
has said that.
I think he's individually the best player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get that out of the way. And then let's get the other obvious one out of the way. I think Anthony Davis is it.
Yeah.
But if we're going to say a guy that I think can win MVP,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Zion Williamson.
Oh, Zion.
We're talking if he can no minutes restriction and he plays every game.
Yeah.
That dude is just another level.
He's going to put up numbers for sure.
He's stronger than a bunch of people than these guys. He's faster. He can jump higher. He's just significantly more talented than a lot of these. And his ceiling, if he can keep the weight down or keep the weight okay,
yeah,
he can get some Barkley in him. He can get that 1 year.
I agree. I think it's just a little too early because that, like I said with Steph, it's the record thing. Like Barkley got his, but they were the 1 seed in the West. So I mean, I think Zion's going to go off this year. I think he's going to make a lot of people he's going to get a lot of people back on the bandwagon who try to just always say it's his weight and like all kinds of stupid stuff instead of just actually watching him play. Because he's going to go off for like 25 and 8 this year, and everyone's going to be, oh, man, get back on that Zion stock or whatever. Like, people are ridiculous with him. I think he's going to be awesome.
I think the Pelicans are my dark horse team to make a run. I don't even know if that's a dark horse, but I think Lonzo turns it around. You have Brandon Ingram as a second All-Star because I think Zion is going to make the All-Star team. Obviously, if he's going to be in the MVP conversation, I think he's going to be an All-Star. And then JJ don't miss the playoffs.
And these are theoretical All-Stars, by the way, because we don't even know if the All-Star game will happen, but we'll see if they still vote for it. But I agree with you, man. If everything tops out for the Pelicans, if you have Lonzo, Ingram, and Zion playing like optimally, that team is dangerous. I wouldn't want to play him. I feel you. All right, a couple more things. We got who's your rookie of the year?
I don't feel good about this one. It was definitely not Anthony Edwards. Consider James Wiseman. I don't think he wins though.
Okay.
I consider LaMelo Ball.
Oh, it's not any of those guys. Okay?
We're gonna take the kid in New York.
Obi?
I think it's Obi. I think he's ready to play in the NBA.
Uh-huh.
And I think that team is just bad.
Yeah.
I think RJ Barrett's okay. They have 10 power forwards on their team.
They got rid of a couple, so thank goodness for that.
They have 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he gives them something exciting. And I think with the New York media, we might have we blew Landry Fields out of proportion. We blew Jalen Green out of proportion. Obi can be next. And this rookie class is not. There's a couple guys. We got Okoro. Yeah, but it's pretty underwhelming. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got Obi.
So Obi, I think the biggest thing he needs is a point guard because he's mad stiff and kind of robotic-y when he plays. He just jumps really high, and he has a nice jump shot. So I can see where you're coming from with that. I'm picking Wiseman. I'm giving you guys some hardware. I like it. I think he's averaging a double-double. I don't think it's going to be crazy, but I'm thinking like anywhere between 12 and 15 and then 10. I could see it for him.
Oh, yeah.
Steph's going to get him a lot of easy looks. Draymond doesn't want to get every rebound anymore. And he's 7'1". He's going to be cleaning up a lot on the glass, and he's going to be on a team that's winning. So I think that his contribution is going to be enough to where people in the media are going to recognize it. And that's the guy I'm putting money on.
That's fair. I mean, I was giving
Of course you'd like it, I know.
I didn't want all the hardware to go to the Warriors.
I know you couldn't do too much like that. So, all right, real quick, before we close out, we got our finals picks. So give me your Eastern Conference, Western Conference, and then you got one in the title.
So for the East, no, let's go to the West.
Okay.
Because that one's a given. It's the Lakers.
Okay.
Their team has been upgraded.
Yeah.
They set themselves up to rest LeBron and AD during the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Adding these Dennis Schroeder, Montrez. What else did they add? Was that? Well, those are the
Schroeder, Montrez, Wes Matthews,
and then now we got this THT guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you still got Caruso, so I mean, we just got over that annoying phase. Now we got a new guy, but to be
Yes, we do. Right? Come on, man.
Yeah, but they're just better than every other team.
Yeah.
And I mean, Anthony Davis
he's just ridiculous.
He's a top 3 player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you have 2 of the top 5 players in the league,
you're getting there.
Significantly better than the rest.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Lakers. And
East. I'm ready for this one. Who's coming out the East, Jar?
You know, it actually it swung after the most recent signing.
Oh.
I'm actually gonna pick the Bucks.
Oh.
I think seeing Giannis's commitment to the team.
Wow.
And how much he's invested, and yes, they've added Drew Holiday,
mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, they couldn't add Bogdanovich.
Yeah,
but I think again they get the number 1 seed in the East. They're still, I mean, they were historically great last season defensively. I think they continue that. I think they figure out how to not use Brook Lopez in crunch time where he gets exposed by Miami.
Yeah.
And I think Drew Holiday covers up a lot. They made a mistake by getting rid of Brogdon when they did and keeping Bledsoe.
True.
That was a huge mistake. But I think they made right with the Holiday thing. I think Middleton does his thing. He becomes an all-star again.
Yeah. They
keep it together, and I think they make a run, and Giannis takes a leap, and I think he challenges for a 3rd MVP.
Okay. I agree with all of it, except the part about them getting to the finals. I do think he challenges for that 3rd MVP. For me, or wait, I don't want to jump over you. So you got Milwaukee, LA in the finals. Who's winning?
You want me to pick now?
I want you to pick now. You got to be on record.
We will take the Milwaukee Bucks.
Your 2021 champions over the Lakers.
I think
the
Giannis,
Milwaukee Bucks. According to Jarwyn Cruz.
Is the 2nd best player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
After Luka, obviously. And I think he asserts his dominance and might actually make me change my mind of who is the best player in the league.
Okay.
I think he's that great.
I do too. And I hope that he does make that leap and expands his game a little bit more. There's not a lot to argue with there, but I will give you what I'm thinking about. So I got LA Western Conference Finals. I still think the Lakers are going to win. They just have LeBron and AD. It's kind of that simple for them. And then in the East, it's close. I got Bucks, Nets in the final. And I had the Nets taking out Milwaukee Eastern Conference Finals. So I got Brooklyn and LA. And I'm picking the Nets to win the 2021 NBA championship. That is what I'm doing. And this is the reason. So KD and Kyrie, obvious. That's what everyone wants to talk about. Their team itself, they have a lot of good pieces, man. Like, I don't like DeAndre Jordan that much, but if he's just the guy catching lobs and defending, cool. Just do that. Jared Allen, really good center. Joe Harris, great shooter. Karis LeVert can score. Spencer Dinwiddie can score. Taurean Prince, serviceable forward. Like, that team is like sneaky deep, and it won't need KD to be amazing from the jump. They just need him to coax him along till the postseason, and I think he's gonna show everybody again how good he is. And I think Brooklyn rides that wave into the playoffs and ends up winning a title. I also think, even in this second scenario I described, if they'd make a trade and try to consolidate and say, maybe Dinwiddie and LeVert are too redundant, let's try to get something that's more well-rounded, I think that move helps them win the title. So even with all the media stuff, I don't really care about it that much. I think when we talk basketball on the court, I think the Knicks are beating the Lakers.
Okay. Let me offer a slight pushback.
Okay.
On paper, yes. I can't argue with you on paper.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, my pushback is the Lakers are going to have continuity.
Yeah,
The
sure.
two stars have played together first,
Mhm.
and they've won a title together already.
Yeah.
I don't think a team that has just been put together now can beat them. I think you have to have your core together, or it's needed that your core has been together. I don't think KD and Kyrie, as great as they are, winning a title is hard.
Incredibly hard.
Like LeBron and D Wade and Bosh didn't win their first year.
They didn't.
I mean, and then KD came to the Warriors, but they were already great.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't happen that way. And I mean,
there aren't too many examples of it. You're right. There's like 08 Celtics for like recent history stuff, and
yeah,
it's pretty much it.
And I mean, when your two superstars are as thin-skinned as they are,
Mm-hmm.
that's just super flag.
No, I could definitely see a world where it doesn't work out, but I am picking the world where it does, and I think that's the one where it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I think we just both jinxed it. I think one.
We just might have, man. There's obviously probably a little part of both of us is just like we don't want to see the Lakers win again, but
again now.
But
we had it and we blew it.
At least one of us should have did it. Now it's too late. We're on wax.
I picked the Bucks. I think the Bucks win in 6.
I got Nets in 7.
Oh, I mean, KD been kicking LeBron's ass in the finals. That is one thing.
Hey, man.
But I think Giannis, he gets over the hump.
I really hope we get Bucks Nets Eastern Conference Final. I would love it so much.
Yeah, we're gonna get yeah, I can see that. I was gonna go Milwaukee, Boston.
I'm not letting you say Marcus Smart on this pod
anymore. Oh, no, my others votes for MVP was actually gonna be Jason Tatum. Whether he grew 2 inches or not,
mm-hmm.
he's
Okay, you're going Jason. Okay, Jason Tatum, I got you. Really quick before we go, gonna freestyle a question really quick.
All right.
Who's the next guy you think is gonna demand a trade?
Next guy that demands a trade? Oh God. Joel Embiid.
You hope it detonates in Philly this year.
Well, I mean, all it takes is for Doc Rivers to get in an argument with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Doc Rivers just took a shot at Paul George again. I think that was a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's not concerned about Ben Simmons' jump shot because he coached Paul George. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, if any, like Ben Simmons doesn't really show that much emotion, and he's not really into talking with the media.
Yeah.
But Joel Embiid is that guy. And I mean, if Wiseman was not on the Warriors, I mean, or they could trade them.
Hey man, you're right.
But Wiseman fits better. He actually runs. Joel Embiid, he's a ball stopper. And he kind of shoots a little too many threes for my liking.
He does. But I mean, other than Jokic, he's the best post player in the game.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Anything else you want to say before we go?
All right, so we have Steph MVP. All right, you didn't answer my question earlier.
What was it?
Wiggins or Paul George?
That's how sick this man is, y'all. Like we've been shitting on Paul George for a minute, but all of a sudden,
is it really that big?
No, don't try, please.
Is it really that much of a stretch?
Don't make this a thing, man. Andrew Wiggins hasn't sniffed an All-Star game.
Okay, here's what happens. If on inside the NBA,
the Warriors' cape is on, guys. I'm just letting you know.
If on inside the NBA, when they start picking their All-Star teams, if Andrew Wiggins is on one of those like the projected teams, like that Shaq, or Charles pick,
okay.
If he's on one of those teams, you owe me a chicken sandwich.
I'll get you a whole bucket and like 3. I will go to Jollibee and grab you like 5 peach mango pies and a whole bucket if that happens. Okay.
All right. Deal.
You get whatever you want from Jollibee. No, no question.
Is on there.
That's the perfect way to end the pod, y'all. So once again, guys, Jarwyn Cruz, one of my good friends, man. Thank you again for joining the podcast. Appreciate you doing this for the video portion as well. It's the first one, so thank you again for being on, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll do it again.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to do this again, guys. So be ready for the new content. The links will be on my Instagram and at the Good Look Podcast. Make sure you check that. I'll still share it on my personal, and you'll see it on my Twitter as well, at LPinkney, LPINKNEE. This is episode 38. We start season 2 after this episode, so you're going to hear and see some new things. Once again, Agent P signing out here. Really appreciate you guys for listening with my guy Jarwyn Cruz. Hope you guys have a good one.
Peace.
It's the Good Look Podcast. It's the Good Look Podcast. It's the Good Look Podcast.